master-servant relationship in Fate Stay Night is one of its most defining aspects. In weird fighting games, we've covered a few Fate fighters, but only one really took advantage of that dynamic. That was until today, because this fighting game is all about the tag teams. So buckle up and get in the ring, because it's time for a magical tag match in episode 19 of Weird Fighting Games in Type Moon June. Fight Magical Tag Match is a Doujin fighter from the long gone era of 2004. Developed by K3, released just 11 months after Fate Stay Night at Comiket 67. Talk about striking while the iron is hot. The entire premise of Fight Magical Tag Match is, what if the Holy Grail War took place exclusively in boxing arenas? Now if you're wondering, why are the Fate characters fighting in a boxing ring? Well, it's simple. This is actually a sequel to Fate Stay Night. In this timeline, everyone is still alive except for Shinji. Everybody is chill AF until Ilya installs boxing rings all over the place. So, everyone must fight. Magical Tag Match. As the title suggests, this is exclusively a 2v2 tag team affair. In arcade mode, you have to play as the canon teams, but in versus mode, you can create any team your heart desires. There are also 4-way matches where you and 3 of your closest friends can fight to your heart's content. If you don't have any friends, that's okay too, because the computer has no free will and is forced to be your tag team partner. This fighter is an isometric 2D pseudo 3D fighter. Despite taking place in a wrestling ring, you're still trying to knock out your opponents. There are no pinfalls, technical knockouts, or submissions. Each character has a set of basic attacks, special attacks, and servants have access to their powerful, noble phantasms under the right conditions. Attacks are directional based like in Smash Brothers. You've got neutral, forward, jumping, and dash attacks. And if you get behind your opponent, you can unleash a devastating back attack for tons of damage. The same applies to special moves, but unlike normal attacks, these use mana. No mana, no specials. The controls are basic, but intuitive. It's really easy to pick up and play. That simplicity doesn't stop each character from feeling unique, although there are some creative liberties taken here and there. Like, I don't remember Saber drop kicking anyone during the events of Fate Stay Night. Since this takes place in a ring, of course there's gonna be ring ropes, and they're my favorite thing about this fighter. Jump off of them, bounce off of them, turning yourself into a human missile, or knock your opponents into them for some devastatingly damaging combos. It's really easy to take a ton of damage fast in this game. Blink and you can be dead within seconds, especially on higher difficulties. And get this, the difficulties range from normal, okay, to hard, makes sense, to Heaven's Feel. Very clever on the developer's part there. When the chips are down and things don't look too hot, that's your cue to tag in your partner. Sometimes that's easier said than done because the tag zones are on opposite sides of the arena, making your intentions very obvious. Although, it's pretty easy to get away thanks to the size of the arena and a general lack of area of effect attacks. If a fighter gets under a certain amount of health, their movement gets slowed to a crawl, and they can't run or hop. This stops the gameplay from devolving into a hit-and-run fest. Eventually, you're gonna have to stand your ground, whether you like it or not. Except, masters have one trick up their sleeves to get them out of these sticky situations. By harnessing the power of the command spell, a master can instantly summon their servant to their side. Now, with your trusty servant fighting alongside you, both can be controlled by pressing the summon button, and they'll stay in the ring until the end of the round. This is a double-edged sword. Your servant comes into the fight powered up, ready to unleash their noble phantasm, but now you have to work overtime piloting both characters at once. The opportunities for synergy are high, and if you know what you're doing, the day can be yours within a matter of seconds. You can only use the command spell 3 times per match, and once your servant is tagged in, both of you are stuck in the arena together, which can be a problem because if one character gets KO'd, it's curtains. This is by far the game's most interesting mechanic as it opens up a whole world of possibilities. The last aspect of gameplay I haven't touched on is the power pellet that spawns in occasionally. This isn't a joke, Ilya chucks it into the ring periodically. It boosts your speed immensely and allows servants to unleash their noble phantasms. You can spam them as long as the power up lasts. That sounds useful, but they have a fair amount of startup, so it's not as broken as it sounds. Honestly, the speed buff is way more useful. Believe it or not, this game has characters from Fate's Day Night in it. Each character has a passive skill that is true to the source material. They range from a nice bonus to completely broken. Shiro, for example, has fast passive health regen, while Saber can negate most magic attacks. Shiro and Saber are your standard characters, melee focused with a projectile here and there. Buffs are a common type of special move in Magical Tag Match, something you don't see in most fighting games. Shiro can use Strengthening Magic to buff his damage, and Projection Magic to use a number of weapons. Saber is your average sword fighter with the aforementioned dropkick. Her noble phantasm Excalibur is a huge laser beam in this game, and for some reason, it's blue. At least it's not orange. Rin and Archer, on the other hand, focus on long-range attacks and magic. Rin has a really nasty spell that slows your movement speed, and if that wasn't bad enough, it turns you purple. Whenever Archer is in a fighting game, I always find it interesting how the developers adapt unlimited blade works into the gameplay. In this case, the iconic move has a long cast time that results in a downpour of swords that can only be stopped by hitting him. Pair this with Rin's movement debuff and you've got one powerful combo. Lancer and Kire might not be the best of friends, but they make a good wrestling tag team. Lancer focuses on advancing lunging attacks while Kire can get up close and personal or fall back and throw black keys. If you like CL, this is your character. You want to see some crazy damage? Just get behind anyone with Kire and he'll grab them with his freakishly gnarled fingers. It takes a ton of mana, but it's well worth the investment. Moral of the story, don't let Kotomine Kire near you. Caster and Soichiro are probably the worst team in the game, and it's entirely Caster's fault. She is a pure magic user with low HP and barely has any physical attacks. These attacks aren't great since they're pretty easy to dodge, and characters like Saber and Ryder have passives that negate most of her moveset. The cherry on top of this disaster sundae is her noble phantasm. She uses her trusty rule breaker, and if it hits a servant, it's an instant KO. The problem is you'd have to be asleep to get hit by this thing. It's honestly really sad. Soichiro is a pretty good brawler, but like all masters in this game, he has a very small amount of health and is susceptible to getting melted by servants. Ryder and Sakura are the strangest pair in this game. Ryder uses her dagger for long-range attacks and can use her eyes to immobilize her opponent. She also has one of the best buffs in the game, giving her super armor, although that pales in comparison to the Ryder kick. It's so much fun using this move with the ropes. It really puts Saber's dropkick to shame. Sakura has some of the best magic damage in the game, but will die if you sneeze on her. Her moves are the only references to Berserker and Dark Saber you're gonna get in this game. Her passive gives her infinite mana, so feel free to run around and spam. Gilgamesh is this game's final boss that is unlocked after beating arcade mode once. I honestly really appreciate that because most games I play make you go through every character and then you unlock them. You know, maybe I just want to play Gilgamesh, just give him to me right away. Thank you. He is a strong, independent, heroic spirit who needs no master. He is by far the most overpowered character in this game, with fast attacks and even faster projectiles. His jumping attack sends a flurry of swords your way, and it's a true combo that will either do massive damage or just straight up kill you. He can enter Gate of Babylon stance to pelt you with swords on the ground too, so there's no escape from the zoning. If that wasn't enough, his Noble Phantasm is the fastest in the game. It's still blue though, but again, at least it's not orange. Gilgamesh's only real problem is that he's on his own, so if he gets KO'd, that's it, and if he gets low health, he has to deal with it. But his high damage will always ensure that Gilgamesh is a threat in the ring. Truly a moveset fitting of the King of Heroes. Despite the basic movesets, these characters are translated extremely well into this fighting system. The essence of each fighter is captured perfectly here. My only gripe is, I wish the game had more wrestling elements. I would have loved to pick up a cherry saber and deck Gilgamesh in the head with it. I love the graphics in this game, they are very early internet. These portraits and sprites would feel right at home on DeviantArt or Newgrounds. I used to play a ton of Flash games back in the day, and this game evokes those vibes. It's nostalgic in a way. Upon closer inspection of the sprites, some things do seem a bit off. Kirei's head is unsettling, and certain rolling animations are oddly proportioned. Some sprites are even unfinished, like Sakura's attacks with Berserker and Darksaber, or Gil's weapon in this attack. It makes me wonder if the developers originally had more in mind than what we got. The UI is a bit out of place too. I don't like the multicolored health bars, it makes it way too hard to tell how much HP you have left. Also, the command spell bar should really just be an icon or something. It looks too much like a super meter, which it really isn't. I think a more simplified design would have done wonders here. Another thing I want to commend this game for is its voice acting. Fate Stay Night didn't originally have voice acting until the PlayStation 2 release in 2007. That makes it all the more impressive how close some of these voices come to the official actors. There are even special win quotes for certain teams in versus mode. It really makes me wish this game had endings so I could hear more of it. At least you can read what the voice actors thought of the project in the website manual. Fight Magical Tag Match is a very simple fighter with basic modes and features. However, the one thing that sets this game apart from similar simplistic fighters that we've covered before, like Artemis Blade, is it's not only fun, but it's also a fully realized vision. This game sells you on the idea of having Fate characters in a ring, and it delivers. We're not going to be playing this on the main EVO stage. It's not Game of the Year 2004, and that's A-OK. Not every game needs to redefine the wheel. They just need to be worth your time. And Fight Magical Tag Match certainly is. It also happens to be a weird fighting game. Special thanks to Do It Mix though for recommending this game during the very first Type Moon June. Next time on Type Moon June, we'll be discussing the most unlucky character in Melty Blood history. If you can guess who they are, you'll get a shout out in the next episode. The only hints I'll give are 1, they have a voice actor, and 2, they are not Shiki or Nanako, as they both already have their own episodes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Type Moon June.